Hi guys, you're welcome to another episode of the Code and Chaos podcast. Hi T.
Hi.
Hi T. My guy.
Yeah, you're here again today.
Yeah, you have no conversation what just happened behind. You have no idea what just happened behind the camera. But I promise you I forgive you.
No, I don't mean I don't want forgiveness.
I forgive.
I said what I said.
Anyway,
Yeah.
on this episode, we're going to be talking about build or bail.
Okay.
When is it the right time for founders to know when to keep pushing or, you know what, we are done. Let's move on, which I think that I think people quit too early and I think people also quit too late.
I think people are trying, generally.
Well,
I think boys are trying. Boys are building, boys are trying, honestly.
Boys, what happened to girls?
No, generic.
People are
trying, yeah. I didn't mean to say male or women. No. People are trying, actually. People are trying. Really.
Okay. So we have some questions today, and from last week, people sent in their questions. Thank you very much for sending your questions.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Send more questions to codeandchaos@gmail.com.
No, or they can just put it on our DM.
Yeah,
DM,
you can also send it to
IG.
our Instagram page, and you can send it to Tolu, not me, Tolu.
Yeah, actually, I think I got this one. So you can just put it on our DM on IG.
Yeah, I will be very, very happy to answer. So one of the first questions that came today is, when did you realize it wasn't working, or it was just time to leave?
It was when the loan money finished now.
Oh yeah, I remember from last week you said you took 3 million naira.
Yeah, so the loan now, so we were trying to, trying, but then because I didn't really have the, I didn't have what it takes. Like I didn't know the right things at that point. So, we were building, bootstrapping from that loan. So, it's when the money finished now that you close shop. Even the guys that have even raised money, you'd see some people say, oh, we could no longer raise money. Our investor pulled out or something, and they had to just shut down. Yeah. So, but then for some people, there are people who decide to pivot.
Yeah.
I think that came later. Instead of shutting down. But then it's also possible for you to just shut down when you know that this thing is actually not working. For instance, there's a platform recently, Edukoya.
Yeah, Edukoya. Yeah, that story was so.
It's a very sweet thing because they were able to fund their investors.
So a question I had when I saw that they were refunding investors is, did they not spend money at all?
No, so that's why I say you don't compare yourself to people. The founder of Edukoya is the wife of the founder of Kuda.
So she got cash.
So it is possible that they don't even need all of those capital at the time, but people just trusted them.
And give them money.
Because of who you are, we are giving you this because for this business. But then they were unable to validate the product. They could not get PMF, and they're just like, oh, guy, this thing cannot work here.
Sorry, what's PMF for people?
Product market fit.
Okay.
To be sure that your product actually something that the market needs.
I mean, and I think that when it even comes to the tech space, fintechs are the only things that are likely going to survive, like really survive. Every other person is just trying.
Well,
you don't agree?
No, so the thing is, I agree and I don't also agree. Because even the fintech, not all the fintech companies will survive. And then also there are other companies. There are other companies as well.
I think that for me, when I knew it was time to go, was the day I just woke up and I said, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not doing this anymore.
Why?
I had a boyfriend at the time.
You didn't tell me.
That's not the point.
Because
that's not the point.
Okay.
And so one day I got I had applied for a grant. For an accelerator program. And I got into the accelerator program. No, I got into maybe the next stage, and we're supposed to do interview, and I was so excited.
Is it the one that you went to? I remember this one. Which one?
No. This one was one Africa thing, and I got to the next stage of the interview and all.
Oh, that was Titan.
Yeah, Titan.
Sorry.
And so I remember that I was so excited, and I showed him the mail. And then he congratulated me, and that's why, let me tell you people, whoever is going to be your boyfriend or your husband, very important, you have to find somebody that aligns. This is not relationship talk, but if you're a female founder, please look for a man that aligns with your goal, because men be wilding. People like Tolu.
No, but so the thing is,
men be wilding. That's what is important. Female founders, you have to find a man that believes in your vision.
The men too should find a woman now.
That's not what we are
saying. But you don't have to be a tech person. Anyway. Your partner doesn't have to be a tech person.
But the point is, I was working hard. I mean, you saw how hard I worked.
Yeah, sorry. I saw it, yeah, but we didn't tell you had a boyfriend.
That's not
So
the point. You know what I'm saying?
continue.
Anyway, so I had showed him the mail at the time. This was very early 2014. And so he called me and said, I see how hard you're working. Oh. I just want to advise you to go and find a job. I cried.
No.
Tolu, I cried.
Yeah.
It did something to me. I went to look for work and I broke up with him.
So you eventually look for the work.
Yes, now that's when I went to find work and I went to find 9 to 5. But at that point, I just knew that,
Okay.
even when somebody that's supposed to be sharing your dream,
Yeah.
who was your cheerleader already, and I was, to be fair, we were already struggling. And so I just said,
So what were you struggling with?
we were not able to raise funds.
Yes,
There was that. There was.
Was the product working?
Yes, the app was working.
Do you have customers?
That's the point.
Are they paying?
We didn't get paying customers.
So why?
What I realized that I just like free things. People would not pay. So it also taught me that Nigerians don't like to pay subscription models. And we even see that with things like Netflix and Prime. Let me tell you people something. I have had Netflix and Prime for the longest. One cover of my money not enter. It's this man that I've been paying for it. And it's not because he's a man, it's just because Nigerians don't like to pay subscription for anything. And so the model that we had at the time was, download the app and then you pay monthly. Nigerians don't want to pay nothing for nothing. Like, if it's possible for them, even the free version that we're using, it was more of my friends and family that were using it. What I also came to realize that I built from a point of a professional, not really from the user's pain point. Yeah. So the problems were just too many. I used 6 months to build app. Nobody was using the Oracle 4 minutes. I said, I'm not doing it again, and that was it for me. I just woke up one morning.
I think what worked for me in that part is that even before launching, I was looking at a situation whereby the day we launch is the day we start making money. So that has been in my head, no matter what it is.
But was that after your first product or before?
This is Vela Finance.
Okay, so that's your second product.
Yes. So for Vela Finance, like the day we start, we must make money.
Yeah.
So that day, I think maybe we made 400 naira or so. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Because from little 25 naira here and there, 25 naira here and there. That first day.
Not the transaction that happened on.
Not transaction that happened. The money, the revenue we made on that first day is like 400 naira. Yeah.
Okay. So I think what this would tell us is first-time founders should not be afraid to fail.
No, don't be afraid to fail.
Yeah, because it then teaches them.
Also, don't be afraid to charge. Like, technology is expensive, man. You pay for every damn thing.
We have AI on our app.
She superstar. Everybody uses it.
That's not the point. That's not the point.
Okay.
We had AI on our app. And we pay plenty money.
Yeah.
And people are not using it.
Even common SMS that you're sending, OTP that you're sending. Funny thing, some people will generate OTP like 10 times.
And you pay for everything.
And you're paying for every bit. So you have to charge. Yeah. If you're not charging, you're probably not a business owner. Yeah. You must know how to charge.
The focus should be from day one.
From day one.
Make money.
Yes. From that first time that I'm putting it out. That's making money.
Basically, if you're not making money, just let that business go. There's really no point putting your blood and sweat into something
that's not giving you money. Yeah. I totally agree.
So our next question is, what is harder, starting or letting go?
Well, I think that it depends on the letting go, right? Letting go could be shutting down.
Yeah.
Could be maybe you're acquired, or maybe you're leaving the company.
Okay.
So it depends. I've had situations where founders are made to resign from their companies because of some cases, some issues, and then some situations where your business failed. Or when you were even acquired. It's actually very, very painful and emotional.
To let go.
To let go.
Not to be acquired. That's the letting go. That it won't pay.
Yeah, so I don't think that. I think that starting up is not. It's not hard.
Yeah.
Starting up is you are excited.
Yes, there's a lot of butterflies.
Yes, every day you're happy. Yeah. You see new use case. You call your team together. I just saw this new use case. I think that we can make money from China. We can even expand to Ghana. We can expand to Kenya. But when it's time to let go, for us, the acquisition process with Carbon took like 6 months.
Oh, that's for Vela Finance.
Yeah, it took like 6 months from like September 2023 to like February.
But you told me in December.
I told you in December when we already putting signatures
you're
on
not a
paper.
guy.
You didn't tell me you had a boyfriend.
That's not the
It's one. No. We started something in September, and I told you in December. Even my co-founder didn't tell his wife.
Is that supposed to make you feel better?
Yeah, he feel better. He didn't tell his wife. So we wanted to be sure that okay, we've signed, all the parties are on the same page and everything.
Yeah.
And then because they are hired us, we resumed with them in December.
Oh, that's why you told me. Okay. So
But I told you, but the news came out when? February 2024, exactly. So
I was like, I know.
yeah,
Sorry, my friend said it to me. I'm like, I know.
So what I'm just trying to say is that the process of letting go of something you've built, with your morning, day and night, you're leaving that thing alone for some other people. It can be very, very emotional. And when you're unable to succeed as well, maybe you're shutting down. That announcement of we can no longer provide our services to our customers. People do announce,
people can't disappear, man.
No, people announce for accountability purposes. So that people know that okay, you did this and you gave it your best.
I think I announced 1 year later.
1 year later.
And it's just now that I'm telling people about that.
So really, people announce it. So that period is always very, very emotional and very, very painful. Because for me, it felt like initially it wasn't like we're not feeling like, but then I can't tell okay, we are now changing social media handles to carbon. They are now. They're not removing me. No, they're not removing me from all the things that I was. Okay.
I remember we had to download new apps.
Yeah. The website had to go offline. So
the time my money was hanging and I had to harass this man, and he was like, "Oh, let me call the people." And I was like, "Yo, you are the person in charge."
At that point, we handed over to the new owners.
Yeah. But did you feel like a failure? And I think this question is for Insta Kitchen. Your first startup, at the point where you failed. Did you ever feel like a failure?
No. Honestly, even at the point where they told me to sit down and not talk, I didn't feel like a failure. I felt like I didn't know.
Sorry, you say? Am I the only one that heard that?
No.
Who told you to sit down?
I don't know that I was I was going to pitch, but then I was told to sit and not.
Tell us
No, I'm not going to.
Are you sure?
Maybe not.
Do you want to hear it?
Maybe not. Maybe on another episode I can delve into that. But the point is, I didn't feel as a failure at any point in my life. I don't feel like failures. So I think that it's also part of my personality. Right? Even if right now something is not working for me, I don't see it as I'm failing. Do you get? I always see it as a learning curve.
Yeah.
Really. For Insta Kitchen, it was not until I failed that I realized I don't even know anything. The only thing you know or you have is ideas.
Yeah.
Ideas. Yeah, you're good with ideas, yes. But then do you know how to run a business?
Yeah.
You know that as the way you grow as a business as well, the way you run it becomes different.
Yeah.
The way you run a team of 4, it's not the way you run a team of 20.
Yes,
it's not the way you run. So it's different. You have to also learn.
Yeah, and I think that every first-time founder should get a job first.
It's very important.
Be an entrepreneur in the job, so that when you have your own startup, because a lot of us, we did German. When we got there, we realized we didn't know shit about business.
Yeah.
Did I feel like a failure? I think for me, I one of my greatest strengths is I don't know how to regret.
Okay, which is good.
I would acknowledge.
I think that you know how to fire on.
Yeah, so I would acknowledge my role in my own suffering. I say these things and my friends laugh at me. It happens across my relationships, my relationship with family. If something goes south, I would tell you exactly what I did and how I fucked up. But that I should dwell on it, nah.
I think that's a very beautiful thing about you. You know how to fire down.
Failure. You know me, I'm Tito.
That's why you're able to just put your hand in so many things and then you get on another one. For me, it takes me a while.
No, I think that people. Somebody was making jest of me the other day. I said, Tito is coming up with a new startup every week. When I go this way and I say that there's no roads, I come back and I go like that. And so to many people, it just looks like, no, but I also learned how to fail fast and move on quickly. So it's not working because of my experience. I was with this other startup for over 3 years and I was stuck there. And so what that lesson has taught me is move on quickly. Move on. The boy is not acting right. Move on quickly.
We're not talking about boys.
That's not the point.
Yeah. So in that part, right? I think it's also part of something that people should learn about
Yeah.
when you're building or you're running a business, especially in the tech startup space.
Yeah.
You know, do your best not to fail. Do your best not to shut down.
Yeah.
You know, if it requires that you pivot from lending to selling bread, do you get? Pivoting is also very, very much allowed.
From lending to selling bread. Okay.
Yeah, just be like you can create an infrastructure for bakeries.
Just don't fail.
Just don't fail.
Yeah,
Do you
just don't
get?
fail.
Don't shut down. You know, try all you can. You know, because that resiliency, you know, is part of what you would need.
Yeah.
You know, when things get tougher, because you would think that what you're facing right now is the deepest
Shaky,
shit.
but you're gonna
It's
see more.
nothing simple. So
And I think that's now goes to the point of don't be too attached to an idea.
yeah,
Because this isn't working good. Pivot to something else
Yeah.
quickly, like really, really fast.
in fact, don't even be emotionally attached too much to the
The
whole
idea of
business
the
itself.
business, yes.
Because at the end of the day, the business is not actually serving you. You might not even be a customer of your own product.
That's it. I mean, I don't have diabetes, and I was building for people with
Exactly.
diabetes.
So it is, you know, it's more about the people
Yeah.
than you.
Yeah.
So the most important thing is when you're running something, this thing is not giving me money. What can give me money? What can give us money? Generally, I don't, you know, unless naturally, I don't feel like a failure. I always see every opportunity as, you know, as a chance to learn, a learning curve, and yeah, always trying to be better. That's why today I still tell you I'm trying to escape poverty. You know,
My guys always trying to escape poverty.
yeah. So
When are you going to?
that go to see they find money. Oh.
Anyway, some of us have never been there,
So
so I can't relate.
that go to 68 or so.
But he's not trying to escape poverty. He's trying to make more money.
For what?
That's not the point. It's
no,
not,
no.
He can never be poor, even if he spends 1 million naira or 10. I don't think his money can
so that's the point. Why is he doing what he's doing?
It is not to escape poverty. There's a difference.
So it could just be maybe an expression.
You have to move on from it, my God.
From what?
He's always trying.
No, I'm trying to escape.
Me, I'm trying to be wealthy. I want to be. I would always say the reason why I work very hard is because I want to be able to afford everything I want and need.
Yes.
Everything. Not that I cannot afford some things, but I want to be able to afford everything I want.
Yeah, you.
Like I want you to take me to the Bahamas every other weekend.
Okay.
Miami, Zanzibar.
Yeah.
That's not poverty. That's that we're wealthy.
Yeah, I get it. I get it now.
Anyway. So the next question is, what should founders consider before they quit or sell?
Consider?
Yeah, before, in your case, what should founders consider before they sell?
Well, I think that it depends. You know, coming back from the idea of trying to escape poverty, I think it's also one thing you need to consider, to be honest. And you also need to consider the landscape, you know, of the economy at the time that you have those offers. For instance, we are, you know, in a situation whereby a lot of our competitors are shutting down.
Yeah.
You know, that way,
Yeah.
our competitors are basically shutting down. And then we are just pivoted into business banking.
Yeah.
So for me, you know that I won't shut down. Instead of shutting down cross-border, I moved into business banking. And, you know, because of customers' data and all of those things, we moved into business banking. And then the opportunity now came to sell. I didn't pray about it because I knew that I've been praying all along, you know, for God to show up, you know, and then He did show up.
Yeah.
At that point.
I'm not sure if I ever told you, but I'm saying it now. I remember when everybody was shutting down. I was genuinely scared for Bella Finance. Like I had faith in you guys, but I was scared.
So
I was hoping that you never come and say, Tito, I was really hoping we never get to that. But
it was, you know, it was a good experience for us to see that, okay, you know, we are looking at the dashboard, seeing the numbers, seeing what we have there.
Did you ever see my name on your dashboard?
Of course. When we started, I see your name. But later, I stopped seeing your name.
Why? No, I stopped using it when you told me to not use your product again.
Oh, yes, now. Okay. Yeah, is it not good? It's good that you stop using the platform at the point, you know.
Am I not supposed to be your number? Something custom?
It doesn't stop you from doing that.
Moving on.
It doesn't stop you.
But I think that for me, when I knew that it was, you know, what I considered before I quit was I just wanted to be a soft. I like soft life, and this other product was just stressing my life. It was stressing my life. Somebody had
Yeah,
just
so if it was stressing your life,
Yeah.
it's a different thing. You could seek therapy. You could.
No, it was stressing me. Like I was constantly.
But if you look at your numbers and your numbers are going and
the
your graph
numbers
is
did not go anywhere.
so basically,
That's what I'm saying. No. To be honest, we could have pivoted. I was just tired.
yes, it's part of it because building is also a very lonely journey.
Yeah, it was lonely.
Very, very lonely journey. Especially if you don't have partners that you can,
exactly.
rub minds
And it
with
just
and
felt
all
like
of that.
the whole, weight of the startup was on my shoulder.
Yeah.
And then I started having co-founders issue. And so I asked myself, what do I really want? I was turning 30. It was the year I turned 30. I think I should write a story. The year I turned 30.
You should.
And I just...
You didn't write one?
No.
I thought you did.
The year I turned 30, no. Okay. And I just wanted to be a baby girl. I wanted to live in Lekki. I wanted to live in Lekki. I wanted to be able to afford a certain lifestyle.
Yeah.
And this startup was robbing me of all of that. So I sat down one day. I said, baby girl, it's time to move. And then I was always asking them, taxing Tolu how far now? Very funny. Tolu is there. I've sent to you. I've sent to my sisters. I couldn't do this anymore. I went to find work.
Yeah. But then I think that you also learn from that process.
I did.
The way you were overwhelmed when you're running the next one now, it won't be the same.
I'm not overwhelmed. I cannot be overwhelmed. I think that at some point we'll even talk about it. My new business, I had some co-founders, and when they started stressing me, and I saw pattern of what it was before, I fired them. I sent them mail. I said no.
Yeah, it's that simple. No so from the beginning, when we were doing Vela, Mark was CEO. Yeah. I was COO. For very, very obvious reasons. Okay. Mark is not really good with people.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you get? So we look at our strengths. Yeah. We put ourselves on the roles that we know that is your strengths. Okay. Anything that has to do with business development, product management, Mark is solid. I am solid with marketing. I was solid with people operation and the general day-to-day operation. So we split it. So everybody have their own roles to play. Okay. If you're not doing your own, it's going to affect me. Yeah. So I don't even have to talk to you. Just do. Yeah, so if you're not doing it,
co-founder that people gang up against another gist.
At least that's another day. We will work this thing another day. Please, thank you.
Why they will not beat you?
No.
Talk about your food chain.
Of course. It's not really a big deal. Yeah. It was just hustling, was just doing so many other things alongside what we were doing. Sometimes you need them now is in computer village.
So it wasn't just a
exactly.
So last question for this episode. So when I quit, right, for a very long time, even till now, I still tell you, I'm a clinical dietitian, a culinary expert, and a tech founder. Does it make sense to still call yourself a tech founder even after your business has shut down?
You can call yourself whatever you want to call yourself, really. You did that shit at the time.
And so once a founder, always a founder.
Of course, really. You did that thing. And in that period you did it, a few people know you. Yeah. You help a few people in that period. Really, it's not easy. And that role, that title is not someone that they just give to you on the platter.
You actually have to do the work.
So you did the work. You built for 6 months, launched, bootstrapped, broke, did all of those things. Whatever you want to call yourself. If you want to call yourself former CEO.
But I think that there's an ego that comes with the title founder.
Okay.
So could that be the reason why people don't want to let go of the title?
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't know.
It's just sweet when I say it.
Yeah, I found that.
I'm a dietitian, culinary expert, and tech founder. If you've ever seen any of my TV shows.
I don't know if there's any ego that comes with it.
There is.
Me, for me, it is money. In fact, you can even call me sales boy. But in as much the numbers are doing well.
Too humble. You're too humble for comfort.
Yes, now, so if the numbers are doing well, really, and I'm sales boy, doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
My stakes are high. The valuation is awesome.
Just a title, man.
See, if don't call me anything. Don't call me anything, really.
All right. So what's your your last word to first-time founders and people that are just thinking about getting into this space?
Is it about calling themselves CEO
No,
or calling
no. For this
themselves?
episode, the episode build or bail. Should you keep pushing or just know it's time to quit?
Well, I think that it's always good to keep pushing. Yeah, you have to keep pushing.
Yeah.
Like I think I mentioned it maybe
Yeah.
earlier in the last episode that it's always very, very good.
Yeah.
When you build that resilient spirit right from the first day,
Yeah.
you have to be resilient. You don't have to be okay, we do this, not working, okay, we are running, we are going back home. No, don't go back home.
Yeah.
Do everything that it takes. And always remember that you're a startup. Don't go and sponsor show. Don't go and sponsor event. Don't go and sponsor tech event. Just be a startup.
Make your money from there.
You are not going to make shishi.
Yeah.
As a startup, just be a startup.
Yeah.
Run lean.
Yeah.
Pay 50,000, 100,000 salary. Don't go and publicize it on Twitter. People will drag you, but stay lean. Just stay as lean as possible.
I think I learned that from you.
Yeah,
when we are talking, we say, I don't used to do more than myself.
Yes, now. I have a friend, that was, a startup. You were paying, at that time, 2021, 22, you were paying a PM 800,000 naira.
Maybe they raise funding.
What am I? I'm a PM. No, they didn't raise any funding.
So what? Really?
Yeah. So you have to stay as lean as. In fact, as a startup, you don't need the PM. Sorry to say, you don't need the PM. You should be that PM.
At the beginning.
So really.
Well, I have a slightly different opinion.
Okay.
I think that if it takes your peace, if it's gonna cost your peace, get the fuck out of there. Honestly. So I'll give you an example.
Okay.
At the point where I started to wind down, there was a time I would wake up in the middle of the night, once the 16th of the month, and I would start to have panic attack.
About salaries?
Yes. Because it means that end of the month. And to be fair, my father did a good job paying my staff salary for a year. But it just did not make sense anymore. I was close to 30. I was struggling with this startup, do or die. The man was there waiting for husband. I was there every month sending him invoice to pay. No. It wasn't worth it again. And so as much as Tolu here thinks that you should push, I just think that if it's costing your peace, dust your CV.
Yeah, I agree with that, right? You can dust your CV and go out, right?
Yeah.
But my saying that you should keep pushing doesn't mean that if something is not working, you can't change it. Right? You can't change. When we started Vela Finance, we started as a platform to enable crypto spending in Africa. We wanted to change.
Well, I remember you
Africa.
Then there was now this policy on crypto.
Exactly. So we will not say because we want to do this for Africa. We had to switch to cross-border payment. When there were issues too on that hand, switch again. So, me saying you should put in that spirit doesn't mean that if something is not going to work, you keep, knocking on that door.
And sometimes you just need to take a break. Like,
you need to.
Just take a break.
Yeah, you need to.
And then you can revisit it. But and I think that another thing is a lot of people. Like I said, there's an ego thing, and so you don't want people to call you a failed founder.
No, there's not. There's nothing like a failed founder. For me, what you're thinking about ego for me, right, is me looking at the number of people that we are paying on a monthly basis, people that are working, building this vision with us. When I want to fail, I think about them. I look at them and say, okay, do you know the number of people that are, depending on these people on a monthly basis because of the work they do here? That would further encourage you to And
I think another thing you did was at the time where you guys were selling, you and the people you weren't going to retain, you found jobs for them.
Yeah, of course.
And I learned that from him, and I also did the same for some of us.
Yeah, thank you.
My guy.
All right, guys.
We'll see you again, same time, same channel.
Yeah, next episode, next week Friday. Thank you.
Bye.